go ahead, sell your Bitcoin. I prefer to pick it up as cheap as possible. Hello and welcome back to the weekly crypto review. So, this has been an interesting week. The markets have been down, and I thought this is a good time, especially before all the FOMO starts, which will probably be next year. I wanted to go through and point out how high Bitcoin could go and why. So, as always, if you like this video, if it gives you valuable information, like it, subscribe, share. You're always welcome to go to cryptocureencies.tv/support and send a gift of crypto to any of the addresses above. But let's go ahead and take a look and see what's going on. So this is our chart, and all I've done is I've drawn a couple of extra lines, just made a wedge here, because that's basically what we're seeing here. This is the height near $20,000, the peak of Bitcoin back in 2017. And here's where we are now, and we've got this nice big red candle, and people are freaking out because we're below $9,000 per Bitcoin. Okay, great, fantastic. This is a good price to buy at. Again, as always, not investment advice. I will say, however, that if I'm going to buy Bitcoin, and I am, I'd like to buy at a lower price, not a higher price. I'd like to buy that $20,000 Bitcoin at $8,700, not $20,000. Okay, so the wedge basically gives us an outline of what we can expect to see. And as the price gets closer and closer, and it ends up over here in August of 2020. So this is, because it's a weekly chart, we're looking at weekly. This wedge goes all the way to August. So we have until August for this to break out. And I suspect it will probably break out long before that. But what we're looking at is a couple of things. One, this yellow line. Well, this is where it bounced off of, and this is that line that I told you about, 10,500. I think that's resistance based on what I see back here. That's firm resistance. We've got this other one up here at 11,500 because it also is resistance. So those are going to be the places where it's most likely to bounce off of. There's also this wedge up here, the upper limit and the lower limit, and you can see, let me see if I can pull this up just a bit. You can see how it has, this lower limit has become support. And we have higher lows. We have lower highs, which is a coiling. So it's building up energy. It's like a spring. You coil a spring, the more you coil it, the more energy it has, the more potential energy it has. And when you let it go, the more you coil it, the bigger the expansion is, the faster. Well, the same thing happens with stocks. So we're coiling up. We're coiling into this wedge. And at some point, we're either going to break out or we're going to break down. I suspect we're going to break out, which is going to push us up above. But again, I'm also looking at this and saying, okay, the halving isn't until sometime in May. We've never, so far, been above the previous high. In this case, we're looking at around $20,000. We've never been above the previous high before the halving in a 4-year cycle. So I'm perfectly fine with the price where it is. I see no problems with this, okay? So let's go on and look at the stock to flow. And this is a new chart that I found, digitalik.net, and it shows you a couple of things. All right, so we've got this blue line here and we've got this purple line. The blue line is stock to flow over 365 days. The purple line is over 10 days. So it's saying it's going to, because it's a shorter time span for 10 days, it's going to jump. Okay? So it's giving you an idea of where the price might be. And you'll notice we're right here looking at, and this is May 5th, and let me pull up, according to this, we're now set for, it looks like May 12th is the halving. So if we can find the 12th, it's telling us that the stock to flow over 365 days is $8,559. So if you average the price over a year, the price should be around $8,500. Okay, If you average the price over 10 days, we're looking at $14,867.24. So somewhere between on May 5th of this year, the price should be between 85.59 and 14,867. And if we look at it, we see the price is at 87.16. So we are literally right where we should be. We are exactly where we are supposed to be. Okay. Now, and again, we're getting in the dark blue. If you look at the price down here, it's dark blue. We're within, let's see here, 73 days. We're less than 3 months, 73 days from the halving. Okay. Now, what does this mean? All right, so I wanted to pull up and show you some calculations I've done. I did this January of 2019. Okay, it's a simple, basic spreadsheet. What I did was I took the low and the high, okay, of each bull and bear run. So I took the low of the first one, and I called it $1. It's really zero, but it's hard to do math by zero, so I called it $1. The high was $32. And then I took the next low from the $32, it dropped down to $2, and it went up to $260. Then it dropped down to $40. Then it went up to $1,149.14. Then it dropped down to $150. And then it went up to $19,666, just under $20,000. And then from there, it dropped down to $3,200. $3,200 is the low is the low. Pull this back up. $3,200 is the low that we saw right down here. Okay, this is the $3,200 line, and so this is our low for this bull run. And what I did was I said, okay, I wanted to look at a couple of things. I wanted to know when the price goes from its low to its high, how many times on average does it multiply? Okay, what's the average times that it multiplies? What I found was the average gain was an 80.45879,167. So almost 80.5 times. So from this low of $1 to $32 on average is up by 80 times. Now, of course, 1 to 32 is only 32 times. But when you average in all of these other lows and highs, you get an average of 80 times. So what it's saying is that this last low, 3,200, if you look at the average amount that this price goes up, the number of times it doubles. Basically, we're looking at multiples. It goes up by 80 on average. Goes up by 80 times. Okay. Well, if it does that, what would the price be? And so I looked over here and I created a calculation. Okay, got a calculation over here, and called it my target price. Well, the target price, if I take 3,200 and I 80 times, 80.45879,167 times, it comes out to a price of $257,468.13. So if the price of Bitcoin goes from its low at $3,200 and it moves on to its average gain, we're going to see a Bitcoin by the end of this bull run of $257,000. Okay? Now, I also did the same thing. I said, okay, from the high to the low, from one high to the next low, what's its average drop? What's the percentage that it drops? And I found that the average is 88.4373816%. So from, for example, $19,666, the average drop is 88.43%. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, I said, let's look and see where the next cycle low might be, assuming the price does hit $257,000. And I came up with a figure of $29,770. So what this is saying is that, and again, this is a guess. It's an educated guess, but it's only a guess. What I'm looking at is I'm saying that if Bitcoin does its average gain, just its average gain, it will go from the low of $3,200 that we have let's go back here. The low of $3,200, an average gain is going to take it up over $250,000. Okay? And again, because it always drops off. After the bubble bursts, it drops off. So, again, looking at the last cycle, then this current cycle is going to do something similar. Okay? And, come on. And so I'm looking at it and going, okay, this is good. It's going up, we'll assume $257,000. And if that's the case, where does it drop to in the next bear cycle? The next bear market? Well, 29,000 something. So this is why I have been looking at and saying $250,000 for Bitcoin at the end of this bull market. And I have also been saying that if you buy your Bitcoin under $30,000, you're probably going to be happy, because I expect that in the next bear market will drop it back down to around $30,000. And that's a huge drop from $257,000 to, what was it, $29,000? $29,770, okay? And of course, I also looked and said, okay, if I have one Bitcoin, if I own one Bitcoin at $3,200 or whatever price, and it goes up to $257,468.13, and I pull it out right there at the top, knowing full well that's never going to happen. I hope to pull it out near the top floor, but there's no way I'm going to pull it out right at the top. But if I pull it out at $257,468.13, and it then drops down, the price of Bitcoin drops down to $29,770.06, how many Bitcoin can I buy with that $257,000? It turns out I can buy 8.648560199 Bitcoin. Okay, I will have changed my one Bitcoin into over 8.5. Okay, this is why we swing trade. This is the whole point of swing trading, is to take a small amount, let it rise up, and then take it out before it drops, let it drop back down, put it back in at the bottom or near the bottom, and let it rise up again, because we can afford to buy more after it drops. Okay? This is the entire point of swing trading. This is how a person becomes a millionaire. Okay? Now, let's take a look at something else real quick, because there are something else I wanted to bring up real quick, and we're running a little long, but I think this is important. If you are watching other people on YouTube, just like I am, you'll note that $100,000 is the price everybody's expecting. Okay? That's fine. They're expecting $100,000 because it is not out of the realm of possibility, and I'll show you why here in a second. In the last bull cycle, back in 2016, 2017, people were, certainly September, October, November of 2017, people were talking about a $5,000 Bitcoin. There were people who were saying it will never happen. There were a bunch of others saying, yeah, 5,000 I think is a good price. And so just like we're all now saying, everybody on YouTube and everybody on Twitter is now saying $100,000 Bitcoin, everyone was saying a $5,000 Bitcoin at the time. Okay? Well, as you can see, I've got my cursor right over here at $5,000. This is the candle, weekly candle that broke 5. It went on for, what, another 6-8 weeks? And went to 4 times that amount. Nearly 4 times. 4 times 5 is 20. It went to nearly $20,000 before the bubble popped. Before the bubble actually popped. Okay? So, everybody's talking about a $100,000 Bitcoin. If Bitcoin does what it did last time, we're looking at the probability of a $400,000 Bitcoin. And the reason I think that's not outrageous is because I saw what the bubble did last time. And remember, we're less than 1% of the population, less than 1% of America knows anything about Bitcoin. When all of the cable news channels are talking about Bitcoin at $100,000, $50,000, I fully expect that once Bitcoin hits $50,000, it's going to be in this area right here. And within a week or so, it's going to double to that $100,000. In fact, and again, when it gets to $100,000, it will take maybe another week, if that, to double to $200,000. I fully expect that. I expect that the run up is going to be, because I mean, this is the definition of a bubble, of an exponential rise, is that it takes 1 week to go a certain amount, and then the next week it goes twice that amount. That's an exponential rise. And so if it goes up $50,000 in 1 week, and the next week it goes up $100,000, okay, so we're now at $200,000. The third week it goes from $200,000 to $400,000. I absolutely can see that happening. I'm not guaranteeing it. I'm not saying it will happen, but I can see it happening. And here's some of the proof to help you, to help you visualize this. This is the rainbow chart. And as you can see, this is a logarithmic chart of the price of Bitcoin. The white line here is the actual price. And what they've done is they've done a logarithmic chart of the lower bounds and the upper bounds. Now, I want you to notice that back here in 2011 and again in 2013, the peak of the bubble both times was above this upper band. This last one, it only came to this third red band. It didn't go up as high as it did the prior two times. And you can see that this time was not as high above as this time was. Well, all right. So this time's probably only going to come down to maybe the yellow. But let's look and see what happens if it goes up to where it did last time, this upper red band. And so this is 2020 right now. What it's saying is that the low price in 2020, starting in January, should be something around the low around $8,000. The high could be as high as $200,000. And all I'm doing is I'm following this line all the way back, and it says $200,000. So we're at a point now where Bitcoin could reach $200,000. I'm not expecting Bitcoin to peak out until the end of 2021, which is right here. So at that point, the high would be close to just under, what is it, $500,000? That's just if it goes just up to the top here. The low right here is going to be something between $10,000 and $20,000. It can't go any lower than $10,000 to $20,000 based on this logarithmic chart. Okay? I am simply pointing out that Bitcoin has a pattern. If you recognize that pattern and you use what you recognize to your advantage, you can gain a massive amount. That's all I'm saying. So if you're concerned because today's price is, what is it, 9,500 and, well, actually it's 8,700 because I pushed this back. Current price is $8,718.40. If you're concerned that today's price is under $9,000 and you're thinking, oh my God, I need to sell before I lose any money, well, go ahead. I will be happy to buy it up at $8,716 because I expect it to be worth $257,000 by the time this is done. Possibly a whole lot more. Possibly twice that. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, some food for thought. You have a good week and keep hodling.